There are a lot of ways to find out someone's having a baby, but trust me, watching a stranger's water break in a minivan parked on your own land while you're in your boxers in a paint-splattered bathrobe is about the worst. It was barely 6 in the morning and I'd just started my second cup of coffee, savoring the quiet, when the world decided it was time for a little demolition derby right on my front gravel. A minivan horn blared loud enough to shake the birds from the trees, and I thought, here we go, someone's crashed through my new gate, or maybe Karen's clan backed into my mailbox again like they do every other month. But what I saw made me freeze there was Karen Moxley's daughter feet up on the dash, screaming bloody murder, while Karen herself stood outside flailing her arms like she was trying to land a plane in a hurricane. Let me tell you, I have never, not once, wanted to be involved in anyone's birthing plan. And yet there I was, caught between sips of coffee and full-on panic as Karen caught sight of me and yelled, "He's awake. He can help." Yeah, I could not. I was the least qualified midwife in the zip code, probably in the country. But 10 minutes later, paramedics arrived, and I just stood there on my own driveway, helpless in slippers, coffee cooling as a new life screamed its way into the world, smack in the middle of my gravel lot. And you know the kicker? They parked on my land. Again. This wasn't some one-off emergency. This was a pattern, 6 months running. Karen and her extended clan treated my open lot like their own private overflow for holidays, birthdays, cookouts, baby showers, you name it. At first it was subtle, a car here, a truck there. Then suddenly every event meant a new fleet parked on my grass. Every time I'd ask for a little respect, Karen hit me with her signature sweet but deadly syrup. "Oh, we thought you didn't mind." Or, "Just this once, you're such a good neighbor." That line burned because I was not a good neighbor. Didn't want to be. I'd moved out here to escape exactly this sort of drama, to get away from all the suburban chess games. But Karen played those games like a grandmaster, smiles, cheer, impossible to argue with without looking like a villain. And after that early morning birth on my land, she fired up Facebook, spinning me into the local hero who'd provided sanctuary. Sanctuary, as if I was running some sort of refuge for people who park illegally. My inbox filled up with likes. Cupcakes appeared on my porch, because apparently trespassing is just fine as long as it ends with a baby. That night, walking my property line, I could hear my father's voice, the man who left me this land, always saying, "A fence only keeps honest people out." But Dad never met Karen. I didn't need a fence for the honest, I needed a gate for the delusional. So the next week, I spent every free hour researching automated gates, talking to contractors, finally installing this sleek black number with a keypad motion sensor and a speaker I could operate from my phone. Felt like Bruce Wayne, honestly. The day after it went live, I got 7 texts from Karen. "Interesting choice, neighbor Hope. Everything's okay, people are talking, and we're all part of a community here, remember that." By sunset, she was out front, pacing, peering through the bars like she expected the earth to explain my behavior. I watched from my window, sipped wine, and let her stew. That weekend, I hosted my own little barbecue, nothing fancy, just friends, burgers, and a big sign private property, not your overflow lot. Karen didn't show, but her daughter drove past twice, glaring like I'd kicked their family dog. But if you know anything about people like Karen, you know she wasn't done. The next time she parked on my land, it would be on purpose. But I was ready. I smiled at my new gate and thought, let's see you call this sanctuary now. Every outrageous thing Karen did came wrapped in such a cheerful package, it made me look like the jerk for pushing back. When you drop money on a security gate, it's a pretty clear signal you're done sharing, right? Not to Karen. She acted like I'd walled off the Berlin border and started a war. Suddenly, she was walking past my place, slow and loud, muttering for anyone to hear. Some people think they can just cut off access like they own the place. And the neighborhood started to buzz. Some folks even sided with her. One morning, I found a note taped to my gate. Be a neighbor, not a stranger. Pink gel pen. Took everything in me not to reply in red Sharpie. Be a neighbor, not a trespasser. Then things got weird. 3 cars parked just outside my gate, bumpers pressed up like they were waiting for a green light. Karen was there in a lawn chair, sunglasses, mason jar of tea like she was leading a protest picnic. I just looked at her. She said, "If the land is off limits, the edge must still be free game." I told her proximity to trespassing didn't make it legal. Her face twitched, but she kept smiling. That week, my security lights kept tripping at night. I figured raccoons until I checked the camera. There was Braden, her grown son, former vape shop owner, now professional mooch, crouched at my keypad with a fork and nail clippers poking at the code like he was cracking a safe. His stealth was so bad I watched the footage 3 times just to be sure. Next morning, I caught Karen in her yard, held up my phone and said, "Your son dropped his salad fork while trying to break in last night. You might want to check his potassium." Her composure slipped for a second, but she bounced right back with, "Oh, he's just curious. You know how boys are." Yeah, boys will be boys, especially when they're committing misdemeanor trespassing. After that, the tone changed. Karen realized I wasn't bluffing. I had proof, and I was done playing defense. She still didn't stop. Hosted a barbecue, 30 people, 4 grills, 6 cars parked right up to my property edge, 1 even over my flower bed. I took pictures, documented everything. When Braden tripped my motion sensor, the speaker boomed, "Warning, private property." He just stuck out his tongue at the camera. Later, I posted the clip online, and it blew up. Suddenly, the whole internet was calling him Finger Gun Freddy. Karen was becoming a meme, and she didn't even know it. Then she tried to get the HOA involved, filed a complaint that my gate was an eyesore, said it was traumatizing her family claimed. The keypad beep gave her migraines. Leonard, the HOA president, called me all but rolling his eyes through the phone. I invited him over, showed him the boundary lines and the footage. He laughed so hard he almost dropped his clipboard. "Just keep it legal and keep the footage coming," he said. Karen never got her HOA victory. Instead, she doubled down. One day, flyers showed up for a block party event, parking available across the street as usual. That meant my lot. I lined the edge with reflective cones and new signs. No event parking. Violators will be towed. Sure enough, cars started to pull in first. 2 drivers saw the barricade and left, but the third, a white SUV with Florida plates, just kicked my cone aside and parked half on my grass. Karen's brother, it turned out. I snapped photos, told him to move. He grumbled about snowflakes and sped off. I called the police. Nothing dramatic, just a report. When the officer showed up, I handed over the photos and footage. He spoke to Karen, and for once her tears didn't work. She got a citation, and when she saw me watching, her smile dropped away for good. That night, the neighborhood Facebook page lit up accusations flying, some siding with me, some not. But more folks started sharing their own Karen stories, and suddenly the tide turned. It wasn't just my gate anymore, it was her behavior on trial. And then came the day she slipped in behind my contractor's truck, parked her Lexus right in the lot, didn't even wave, just marched off, smug as could be. But this time, I'd planned for it. As soon as the gate slid shut, I locked it. Her car was trapped. She returned, found herself locked out, and called out, "Is something wrong with the gate?" "Nope," I said, "works perfectly." She called Braden, who showed up and tried the keypad, but the speaker blared, "You are not authorized for entry." Karen shrieked. "This is kidnapping," I said. "No, that's your car, not you. You can have it back when you explain in writing why you keep trespassing." She called the cops again. Officer Wallace. He watched the footage and said, "Yep, unauthorized entry." Karen lost it, ranted about emotional abuse of her Lexus. He just shook his head and left. Her car sat there 5 hours. The HOA called a hearing, Karen's last stand. The room was packed, some neighbors with popcorn. Karen and Pearls went full melodrama, raving about community tradition, cultural memory, safe communal infrastructure. She dabbed at her eyes, but the crowd barely bought it. I played the footage, a highlight reel of every trespass, every party, Braden's late-night code-breaking. People laughed because sometimes the truth is ridiculous. The board voted 7-0 the gate stands. You'd think that would be the end, right? Nah. Karen doesn't lose gracefully. She went quiet. Then a week later, I woke to a sound like thunder. Karen brought a bulldozer, a full-size steel-plated monster trying to crush my gate. She got stuck in the gravel, ruptured a septic pipe, and had to be pulled out by the cops screaming about emotional support bulldozers. The scene went viral suburban tank showdown. People memed her face onto a Transformers poster. She got fined, disappeared from view. Neighbors started dropping off cookies, wine pie, thanking me for standing my ground. In the end, I turned the street-facing side of the gate into a mural, a swirling, wild landscape with a bulldozer hidden in the corner driven by a woman screaming into the void. People came by to see it, took photos. Karen. She put up a for sale sign, moved out with no fanfare. The new neighbors brought pie, respected the line, and loved the mural. Now I leave the gate open most days, not as an invitation, but as a statement. The mural's become a local landmark, fence and sensibility. A TV producer even emailed to talk about a series. Maybe I'll say yes, maybe not. The real win knowing I stood my ground. That after all the noise, the memes, the bulldozers, nobody dares park here without asking. And when they do, I just point to the mural and say, this land is mine. So what do you think? Was I right to hold the line, or should I have caved for the sake of community? Let me know below. Whose fence is it anyway?